So I'm going to kind of show you around the pool and see if you can see how dirty some of this stuff really is. Let me get on the other side here. You can see how much crap has been down onto this. This is after my pressure washing. There's a lot of concrete particles in there. I don't know if you can see down to the bottom there. It's pretty yucky. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's pretty much a swamp. Yep, that's a night crawler. Its days of crawling are kind of ended. Okay, pool startup is always fun. It's always kind of nasty in the spring, trying to get stuff done. I've got my predecessor didn't leave me with a lot to work with. However, when I originally bought this place a few years back, they had a 3/4 horse motor on here, and they had a sand filter. And what I found was that the motor was woefully inadequate at pushing enough volume of water every day, and it was costing me a lot of extra money because I had to pump on it 24/7 in the startup. So a few years into it, I changed things out. I put this great big 2 horsepower Hayward motor on here, about the biggest one you could get, and I changed to the biggest cartridge filter. You ask me, why did you get away from the sand filter? Sand filters are cheap, you don't have to replace the cartridges. Well, in Washington State, you only have 3 months of swimming. You don't want to spend a month trying to get your pool looking good enough to go swimming. You know, unless you want to start in March or April and pump on it that entire time, and chemical wise and everything else, it's expensive. So going to a bigger pump allowed me to push water to my roof as well as get enough volume through here, because it's volume of water and a good filtration system that's going to make the difference. And I've got one of the bigger canister filters you can do, because I've got a 30,000 gallon pool too. But I want to go swimming, probably going to start swimming here in about 10 days, because I'm going to get the pool clean, and I'm going to put my solar back together. And if you want to watch that episode of how I've created my solar, it'll explain a lot. So, and you're wondering, what in the world is this? This is an air hammer. Okay, if we have a power outage while I'm pumping and it goes down and then rapidly comes back on, I could hit a lot of extra pressure, and this volume here allows that air to compress rather than hitting the pump and possibly blowing a line somewhere between here and the pool. I mean, imagine pumping the volume of water we're doing here, probably about 300 gallons a minute, and nobody here to do anything about it. The other thing I did, and I don't know if you can see this box, but right down there, I put a Cridom relay that cuts both legs going to the motor, so I don't have to worry about the big nasty switch or getting into the timer. I got a switch clear over on the other side. It's powered by, standard power, a 5-volt jobber. And so now I can stand over there away from all this electricity and start this thing up. If there's a problem, I can switch it off over there and close it out. You never want to be standing over the top of one of these babies when you fire this thing up. At 35 pounds of pressure, you got a lot of force inside here. that could really do some serious damage to you. I would imagine if this lid slid off and blew out, it could probably hit here and rupture my roof on the pump house. And not to mention, all that water's going to go somewhere. Even though I have a GFI breaker on the main panel downstairs, it's still a liability that you don't want to be around. I don't let anybody get within 4 to 5 feet of this area when I start this thing up. Even after it's been running, for a couple of weeks, I still, when I'm playing with this thing, I really don't want anybody here. It's a big hazard because you have so much pressure and volume that you're dealing with here, along with 220 to service it all. Nobody wants to be in bare feet standing on concrete when this thing blows out and you have 220 sitting right there. Even with the GFI, it might go off properly, it might not. So that's kind of it. I'm going to set my pool up so it will vacuum to discharge. Here's my discharge line. Pressure is going to get blocked right here from the discharge. Where it would normally go into the pump, and it is going down into my basement and then to the street. And trust me, when I start this baby up, I'm going to go down and look at that PVC pipe, because I'm going to have 30 pounds of pressure or close to it heading down into my basement area, and I want to know that it's not leaking. I do that every year, just as a precaution. Anyway, I'm going to have at it. So about 45 minutes later, I have all these leaves that were trapped, and pine cones and crud that was trapped in here. I think I got about 2 or 3 pine cones that I didn't intend to get, and they're kind of bad news. A little bit nervous. And so now we point it over toward the pool area. You can see that my level on the pool is greatly reduced to the point where I can no longer vacuum to discharge. It's time to fill the pool up. That represents about 3,000 gallons of water. But every 5 minutes I was stopping for another 5 minutes to clean out the trap. But this is definitely the way to go if you're going to try to clean your pool up as fast. You want to get rid of all that organic material, get it down the drain. We don't want it trapped in our filter. We just want it to go to the city sewer. And we are connected to the city sewer here, as per the city regulations. Now we're going to, while we're filling this up, I'm going to get about 10 bags of shock, and I'm going to throw it in. I know I'm going to lose a little bit, but I want to start killing all that green algae that's in there and start making it look a little clearer. So maybe a little later this afternoon I'll have a little bit more visibility. Not a lot today, but by tomorrow, because I'll probably just suck on the surface of it once it's filled up back up again, and then let it pump the surface particulates out, which won't be that much. And then tomorrow I'll work on the vacuuming, and then once that's vacuumed out again, then I will restart it, and I will start using a Creepy Crawly. This is a Creepy Crawly. It is the most efficient machine ever devised for a pool. Simplistic, runs off the pool filter itself. Generally will not pick up pine cones. They will generally get trapped in the bottom here. This thing has a bi-directional valve, and by pressure differentiation between the two tubes here, it kind of jerks backwards. And trust me, it will get all the way up to the very edge. It will try to climb out of the pool. The only thing that stops it is a loses suction because it starts sucking air into it, and it will fall back down into the water column. And this is a $350 or so item that I highly recommend.